All right, we're recording. Thanks for coming, everyone. This is the Tellor Tech Call, February 18th, 2020. Got a good one for you guys today, so stay tuned. First thing, thought we would do the big news, which was Mike was in Denver over the weekend.
Yeah.
So you want to give an update to that?
Yeah, for sure. One of the questions on the questionnaire was actually asking about ETH Denver, so we'll just start with that. It was amazing. It was great. It was personally my first ETH Denver. You've been to at least one.
Yeah.
So I was excited to just be there because it's a really cool Ethereum event. And Denver's also a really cool town. But from a Tellor perspective, it went really well. It was the first event that I've personally been to since launching Tellor where I felt that our reputation preceded us in some way, where I had people coming up to me and introducing themselves and saying, oh, I love Tellor. I would love to schedule a meeting with you. I heard other people talking about Tellor, other projects that were hacking, walking around the space, you heard our name thrown around. So that was really, really validating to hear that word is spreading about Tellor. And other than that, I spent the 3 days there pretty much in and out of meetings the entire time. So I didn't get a chance to consume too much of the speaking and presentations that happen there, which are really cool. But I'd much rather spend time in meetings than listening to presentations. So it was really good. I have to be a little bit vague about the content of the meetings, but we have to be vague about those things, and we've been vague about them in the past. But I'm really excited about some of the things that some of the conversations I had. We got somebody who's...
Yeah, I got one muting them.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think, so, and obviously if you guys know of any events that you think we should go to, pass them on our way. Will be, I think the next ones that we have as definites on our calendar will be, we'll probably head up to ETH New York in May, but.
Oh, one thing I can say is that all the investors I spoke with out there, they all sort of got a gleam in their eye about oracles. And so they all say that oracles are really hot right now. And that was before the BZX attack happened. And it only got way more intense once that happened, because everybody was just talking about the oracle attack or whatever. So there was a total buzz about decentralized oracles there. So cool stuff.
Yeah, so the not a whole lot in terms of tech announcements this week. I think we made like one little minor push over the past week, just updating like an error message or something. But the big things we've been working on is going over the Tellor Proposed Adjustments. You guys have given a lot of feedback on that. We're starting to code it up as well. So if you guys are interested in helping us audit it or helping us, check, it's a relatively simple piece of code update, let us know. So, the few things that we sort of wanted to discuss with you guys, since they were, it seems really nice that everyone seems all for lowering the inflation rate. You all seem very self-interested.
Pretty unanimous.
Yeah. Well, so the first thing, some of you have been asking whether or not there is a vote scheduled for this, and if you actually read the Tellor Proposed Adjustments thing, so we hold an admin key in the system. This isn't a secret. It's out there. The plan has always been that once we get a user and the system needs to be decentralized, that we would throw away the admin key, and that means send it to the 0 address. So Augur did the same thing, and several other protocols have done similar things as well. And that's still the plan. And the reason is that if we don't have any users, Tellor is sort of useless. So we need to make sure that we upgrade in ways that get users. And, you know, if that means we have to iterate a little bit faster at the beginning. The other thing.
And you don't know those changes. It's all just
before you
potential.
launch, right?
Yeah, well, you don't know before you launch. You also don't know it until you've met that user.
Yeah, and it's also been, it's also now actually best practice in the space to sort of be able to upgrade at the beginning, just because although you deploy, you don't know if you're going to find a bug right away. So, you know, like people usually use the systems for a little bit of time before throwing away the admin key, just because, you know, if you made a spelling error or some small change that didn't get picked up by the audit, you can easily fix it without having to fork your whole system. So there will be no vote needed. We're going to move forward with this one. But that said, we still want to, you know, if the community was highly against it or something, I think we'd be open to it. I think so. Only one person came to me with a concern, and I'll share it, and it's a valid concern. But what his thing was saying is that we deployed this system and we should leave it deployed, and that any sort of upgrades take away from the decentralization aspect of Tellor. And that's fine. You know, he was saying, how would you explain this movement of non-decentralization to future users and want to sort of administer a stain on future Tellor? And it was a good concern. And I think, you know, the answer to me is that we're not building this thing that once we deploy it, we're never going to upgrade it. We want to build something that once we deploy it, we upgrade it to make it better consistently. And the decentralization aspect of it will come, obviously, once we throw away the admin key, from the community involved in upgrading. And so similar to like Ethereum. Ethereum is sort of a great example on this. When the DAO hack happened, they sort of forked Ethereum, and a lot of people, even back then, like I was probably one of them myself, was saying like, no, you can't fork. Like, this is, you know, systems don't fork and take back money from hackers. Code is law. And since then, I've sort of changed my mind on some of those things, in that it's much more of a community mindset here, where, you know, that there are places where you can be this just blunt code tool, and that's great. You know, as far as like Bitcoin, I would say, is trying to be that, and then you have this, for instance, like a Uniswap, for instance, it's just this blunt code tool, but then other pieces are more ecosystems, and that's what Tellor's aiming to be. This, especially since the Oracle piece is one that ultimately it comes down to what we believe is the correct value. There is, you know, whenever you look at like somebody requests the price of Bitcoin, there is no correct value. It's what the Tellor ecosystem believes is the correct value. So you sort of need that ecosystem in there. At least that's how we feel. So yeah, so I get the concern about the image of decentralization, and we're really pushing for that. But we think that this is almost just a bug fix in my mind, as far as the inflation piece goes. It'll sort of bring it back down, because I think, you know, for people who, you know, not that we're focused completely on the price, but if you want to look at, for instance, yesterday we actually hit an all-time high for our market cap. Congrats, guys. Which was really great. But the all-time high for the market cap was actually a token price that was $3 less than the all-time high for the token price. And the reason this is, you know, we've increased the token supply by 30% since December. So whenever your inflation rate's that high, like even increased demand and everything like that, it just makes investing in the token and being part of the system a much harder sell. And we want people who want to be part of the system to not feel like they're going to lose money to inflation. Probably a decent, undisputed thing. Yeah. So anyway, there's some of our, I think some of you have asked more questions, but as far as the timeline on it goes, we would love some of you guys to look it over. We'd love to, you know, be open about it, and we'll probably be pushing it. I'd like to do it sometime in early March as far as pushing it live. So we'll be testing out some of the changes and making it all work. So,
and if you haven't read "We the Blockchain," it's up on our Medium. It's a great article. It sort of goes into a deeper dive into the philosophy that you were just describing about it. So, so we should jump into the questions, I suppose.
Other things, Tellor bounties. So there's a lot of bounties that are available now. We'd love, if you are a front-end developer, we'd love to talk to you. You want to make some front-end UX. Those are some things that we're definitely looking to improve with Tellor. So if you want to earn some TRB, get in contact with us, or if you know anyone. Other than that, if
someone build a Dune Analytics dashboard for me, that's something I want. We're friends with them, and I think it's great. And I think the community could use a fun tool like that.
Okay. Yeah, so those are some of the things. And now we're just going to move on to your guys' questions.
Okay. So there's 40 responses. They're getting bigger every time.
We're going to have to probably start cutting them down here at some point.
Well, we'll just speed through them.
Over. Okay.
The first one's a statement, but I can repeat this. Shout out to Tyler for doing a great job as mod. Shout out to Tyler. Good job.
Thanks for submitting a question, Tyler.
That was clearly from Tyler. Are there any bounties for business development tasks such as partnerships, listings, collabs, etc.? We were just talking about this.
Yeah, this is really, really hard to do. If you want to work with us and things like that, it just has to be sort of on a case-by-case basis. But you can't. It's not like a piece of code or something, because if you say like, hey, if you give us an introduction to a project and we'll pay you 100 TRB, then you just end up getting a whole bunch of intros to shit projects.
Exactly.
We hope that everyone watching this call and everyone who's a TRB holder is already going to be introing us to projects. As far as, exchange listings and marketing efforts and things like that, we want to focus on the educational ones anyway. We don't want to run shill campaigns. So, we definitely want to.
If we did something like that, the majority of the things that you guys would be doing would be just not effective for us. And then it would end up being more of a having to say no often, or this isn't the right project, this won't work as a partnership, or we don't want to do a marketing campaign with them. It would be us managing all the submissions of the business development tasks stuff. So that said, I mean, guys, if one of you lines us up with a real amazing, ideal customer, and we get it, we're going to treat you, we're going to show our gratitude and
yeah, you just can't put price tags on this thing, because it's like, what is an ideal customer? And we can't even answer that question.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Thoughts on Open's new options-based insurance market?
Never
heard of Open.
We'll have to look into them. If you have a link, send it over our way.
What are the ideas for the eventual utility of the token? What reason does a little guy that cannot mine have to hold the token other than speculation at this point?
So it's just voting on the ecosystem. And then also for the little guy, we hope that eventually a lot of people are holding our token to use it, to request data and things like that. That's where the real utility is going to lie, is being able to use it to request data. So,
what's max supply?
There is none.
Okay, can we skip over all the formalities and just cut to the inflation starting today? We all know that's what investors want, and the miners have no vote because they all sold their TRB. Well, we addressed that. It's coming soon. Are you bullish on blockchain and gaming, NFTs, etc.? I think you'll say no, and I'll say yes.
Yeah.
I'm like a game. My background is in gaming, and so
blockchains are just really expensive. So it's you got to end up putting them on side chains and putting them on all this experimental stuff that you would probably just be as good using a centralized database.
Yeah.
And then my other gripe about blockchain games is just blockchain and gaming, usually the games that do the best are the ones that have just the best devs in front end. It's just the best gaming experience people are going to play. The the ability to sell and move things around is like sort of secondary to if you just have an awesome game. You know, like right now, like I think we've said it before, like blockchain gaming is, yeah, I think I've heard it described as like the Christian music genre of, you know, it's just sort of like subpar everything in there. Like it's not good games, and people aren't going to play them until you have really good games. And then if you have a really good game, people are going to.
If you have a really good game, then the items in the game will have value. Because if you have a crappy game and you just farm these NFTs for the sake of getting these rare items, I don't know. Like the best rare items are in like World of Warcraft, and that's because World of Warcraft's a great game.
Yeah.
So but I think we can get there, and so I'm bullish on it. I don't know what time frame. Anyway, are you familiar with Block Science's CAD crypto economics modeling tool? No.
Look into it.
We'll look into it. Reach out to MStable. They are a new stable coin of stable coins project, and they need oracles. Yeah, I have. I spoke with him he was at ETH Denver, and I tried to coordinate to meet him, and both had meetings at the same time. So we're chatting on Discord, actually. That's a good find. They have they clearly say in their documents they're sort of the way that they're using their price oracle and what their thoughts are on decentralizing that. That's a good find, a good lead, and we're pursuing it. Are there any plans to ramp up the team in coming months?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. We have kind of the philosophy we like to stay lean. Mm-hmm. But as the needs start growing, we want to grow the team as well. So
yeah, like if someone needs to manage an off-chain implementation of Tellor, then we'll need somebody that can handle that while we're doing other things. And so
we just want to find the right people. We'd rather, we're sort of too nice of people too. We want to like hire people and never have to fire them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't want to like hire people just because we can or something. We want to hire people we like and who we want to work with for a long time. So,
and there's plenty of people that we really like in the space, and they're working on other projects, and we're just
waiting for their projects to collapse.
Yeah, exactly. That's secretly rooting against them so that they can work now. But anyway, what was the ICO price? Come on, guys. There was none. Is it possible to open a joint community team crowdfunding support for Kyber Swap?
So on the crowdfunding stuff, we're working on a tool to be able to do some crowdfunding of some of these things. We realize that there's a lot of things that you guys would like to crowdfund that maybe the team wouldn't want to fund directly.
There's another crowdfund question about exchange listings.
We're working on a tool. If you guys want to help me out with that, just building out the front end now. So, and then we can have a nice little tool to do some crowdfunding of some of these things. So hopefully, fingers crossed next week, but we'll see whenever I get around to it. It's not super high up on the priority list, but it'll be cool. We'll be able to sort of do some crowdfunding of some of these things.
Yeah, it's called Tellor.fund.
Not live yet.
Not live. Don't even try to go there.
Get a GoDaddy link.
Are there plans to allow IDEX to list TRB for US approved customers?
I think we're under legal review there.
We've been under legal review. They've warned us that it's a slow review process. And so we're sort of just waiting.
Not on us. So,
what do you guys think of IPFS? Is it useful?
Yeah, super cool.
Like it.
Yeah.
Can you guys send out a rallying cry for the current KuCoin listing competition? Thanks. I think really this should be a community-driven thing, just from an image perspective and a priority perspective for our team. We don't want to be one of those teams that is constant communication with their community is about listings. You've seen a lot of them, where it's like the only thing driving value that we're doing is rallying for new listings. So
yeah, listings are always tough. We're always skeptical about how much value they actually add, and I'll just be honest. So listing competitions like this, where you have to deposit and do these things, like It's just they're weird little games. Don't play with that side of crypto. Like, and besides, like, we usually will do very poorly on a lot of these things just because usually it's like market cap based, and if there's a team, like a lot of ICO teams, if they hold 60% of their funds at their discretion, they can really just wipe the floor with these competitions. So we're not really, we're not necessarily in the best thing to do.
How do you feel about the use of leverage in crypto?
Leverage is awesome. Yeah, I mean, leverage. I think crypto, the big use cases over the next few years are going to be the uncollateralized space. So right now, everything has to be like crazy over collateralized because you don't trust anyone. But if you think about like what's, like crypto is about sort of censorship resistance in our minds. And I think the big things that crypto is going to actually enable over time is almost like all the derivatives that were made illegal over the past 10 years, like the ones that caused the financial crisis, like where you had a bunch of uncollateralized loans. I think you're going to really see adoption whenever we get those in crypto, whenever people are like, hey, now it's actually more capital efficient to do it over here because I don't have to comply with regulations on capital controls. So that's my prediction. So leverage is cool, but it's also dangerous. So don't ever trade on leverage. I think people are going to trade on leverage, but you personally should never trade on leverage.
Good advice.
Yes.
Can you explain the relationship between Maker, Binance Labs, Consensus with respect to their support of Tellor's project? NDAs aside, with no ICO, no pre-mine funds, funds are undoubtedly limited, and I'm curious how you plan to overcome the obstacles from a capital perspective. So, I mean, like he said, we're staying lean. We're actually really proud of our dev share model and the sort of aligned incentives of that. And we think we can go far with that as a revenue model for us and not have this look like a typical startup with multiple rounds of fundraising and an exit strategy and these kind of things.
Yeah, like the exit strategy is like decentralizing it to the point that you guys kick us out.
Yeah, that's the end game. Is that you guys
we don't have jobs anymore. So I think just the strategy in a lot of ways, you just got to work really hard. Same with relying on you guys building a community and being honest. It's just you're never gonna, even if you can throw a whole bunch of money at some of these things, it can help. But it's a lot of times, like, what you got to do, you just got to do it. And even for us, like, it's
not that capital intensive. I think you see what happens when you get these companies that get way too much capital. They bloat out.
And a lot of it's going to be strategic too. Like we've been talking, like there's a whole lot on Tellor's plate. So like you see a lot of crypto projects do that. They don't find traction right away, and then they like branch off and they're on every single chain, and they are launching their own chain, and they have a wallet and XYZ, and and you're using your team of 50 people to do this, but that it's almost like not the way to do it. Like you just want to say no to the things that aren't going to add value to your core proposition. You want to go after and work hard at the things that will, and being really smart about what's going to add value, not wasting times on things that don't. It's really tough. We want to have meetings with everyone in the space, but then at the same time, like you have to make sure that you're putting the time into, especially with such a small team, to do the development work to move it forward. So yeah, it's a tough balance act.
Yeah. In terms of Maker, Binance, and Consensus, they've all invested in us to varying levels.
They all provide support kind of in different ways. Usually it just depends on what we need in the space. We've actually been doing some calls with Consensus. They've been helping.
Yeah, we're in like a mentorship program with them.
With the grantees. Binance is great. I'd probably say for connections.
Yeah, they were initially heavy on the mentorship and obviously the labs acceleration development side.
And Makers had a bunch of connections for us too, a little bit earlier on, Just, they know different people than Binance. So it's, yeah, makers are New York based, most of them. So it's just different spaces. So yeah, it's nice having really different parts of the ecosystem all kind of we're able to contact, and they provide us support.
Do you like TBTC?
Not as familiar with them. I mean, I know about them. So they're basically a wrapped Bitcoin, similar to a wrapped Bitcoin. But yeah, I've tried to get in contact with Matt, who runs that a few times. So I have to follow up with them.
I guess they're kind of hot right now. I don't know. I don't have a.
They're not launched yet, though. So yeah.
What do you guys think of copy trading, social trading?
Yeah. No, it's really tough. Like anytime, usually like the rule of thumb, like if anyone's like, hey, follow this trading rule or follow this, like we'll all trade together on something. The real big problem with a lot of that is if somebody has a trading algorithm that really works, they are never going to share it.
Because why would they?
Why would you? If you know something that works, you're gonna
live on an island.
Yeah, it's like it's the same as like, should you ever listen to a trading guru? The answer is no, because if he was actually good at trading, he wouldn't be a guru.
Yeah, he wouldn't be busy publishing a book or a DVD. Or
yes. No, just use those things. Like anybody who's telling you they know how to trade doesn't know how to trade, because they wouldn't be doing that for a living.
Yeah. And if you really were so wealthy, you just want to give back, you'd be giving back in other sort of ways. You could be you'd be helping poor people, or solve world hunger, not helping other traders.
Not showing off your Lambo and
yeah, exactly, your rented Lambo for the day. Yes. Does privacy matter in crypto?
Definitely,
absolutely. We think it's one of the two core values.
Yeah, hopefully we get back to it more.
Yeah, we're handling the censorship resistance side of it, and anonymity. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, and hopefully we can be a part of that.
We need more memes. Agree? I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Send me them, because the next monthly community review meme of the month award is still open. There's a couple favorites I have, but I need more. There's only 2 I have. Should the community crowdfund and exchange listing? We covered that. Will there be any sort of merged mining available, hybrid proof of stake, proof of work abilities? Will there be any chance for a non-miners to stake TRB in the future? Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So we've gotten these questions before. I think we're not sold on proof of work for eternity. We just have to see kind of where the technology goes, where the needs go. Obviously, if like it could become an issue if let's say like one miner has ASICs and isn't releasing them or something and dominates, or like you don't know what it's going to be. But I think mixing it up with staking could definitely be an option, especially as a lot of these staking protocols are coming, becoming more mature. So yeah, no, I definitely think in the future that there will be ways to stake and use Tellor. It's just finding things that make sense and can add security are what we're all about.
Hey, Mike, were you at Mariano Conti's ETH Denver talk? He works at Maker and threw a subtle jab at Chainlink. Funny stuff. Like I said earlier, I was in and out of meetings the whole time, so I only sat in on a few calls or presentations. I missed that one. But, when you're in these events, especially the developer events, you hear a lot of subtle jabs at Chainlink already that you don't hear being in Twitter and Telegram.
But Mariano Conti is really cool, though.
Yeah.
So if you guys, if you get a chance, follow him on Twitter or something. He's, I actually met him for the first time out at DevCon, and we had some good talks.
Yeah, very cool. Has the Tellor team reached out to BZX following the 2 attacks they suffered?
We've had some calls with BZX in the past, but I haven't reached out to them after this. I figured they'd be busy.
Yeah. Well, you tweeted your thoughts on it.
Yeah, tweet my thoughts on it. So we can reach out whenever things cool down for them.
But they're rushing to implement Chainlink, and so
They've said for some price feeds they're going to implement Chainlink, and I think the whole thing's really weird. So it's
all right. So what should the community nickname be? Tellor Task Force, Tellor Tribe, Tellorians, Tellor Titans, etc. Link Marines need competition. I definitely think there should be one. I mean, my personal vote was Tellorians. So, I mean, you guys got to decide what you like. I like the Tellorian name. It follows in the sort of the Mandalorian crest.
Well, we had the Tellorists.
The Tellor. Yeah, we had the Tellorists at one point, which I like too. So you guys choose. It's right now. It seems like you guys are using the Tellorians. I vote that one. I think it's a rich tapestry of memes that could come from that. But we'll see what sticks. Instead of suffering endless cries of "win Binance," why aren't we bootstrapping liquidity ourselves? Let's vote on diverting a small percentage of mining rewards to incentivize Uniswap market makers like Synthetics did. Paying for centralized exchanges is so 2019.
Yeah, I'm actually put me on the spot this week. I'm pushing on my liquidity article, so I'm gonna give you guys some of my thoughts on liquidity in the space. So
it's ready to go.
We'll
put it on Friday.
Yeah.
Could the tech call be renamed to community call? And I think this is something that we at some point we're gonna have to adjust it. It's become a hybrid. It's also weekly.
So this was, and a lot of people have asked, like, why isn't Brenda on the tech calls and things like that? Well, because these calls actually started out with, these were my ability to talk to miners once a week, and just kind of give them updates as we were doing kind of weekly upgrades on it. And then it has since formed into these AMA sessions with Mike here. And but you guys aren't stealing my tech calls.
No, I think we could.
We'll have to split it off kind of into a tech focus, a community focused one.
Or we could do, one's a dev call or a tech call, and the other one's a community call.
Yeah, especially now, like we're getting a lot more questions, a lot more content. Because I think, in the past, like, it was tough to fill up 15 minutes worth of content whenever we had 2 people show up and listen to the videos. But now there's a lot more people. So
or we could always keep them a hybrid.
I
mean, we're a tech-based company, so the community is tech-related.
So,
I don't know. U.S. residents on IDEX question.
We answered.
Yeah, we answered that. Great podcast on Interaxis. More of that, please. Thank you for listening.
Check out our Interaxis podcast.
Yeah. We speaking of Brenda, she was on Interaxis. They're a great educational platform that are kind of up and coming. They're a little bit more about educating sort of non-community members about blockchain, so they're a little bit more surface level, but that's really important. But retweet it and share it around. So we're looking into doing.
If you guys have any podcasts, let us know about them. We'll try and get on.
People who hear about Tellor and say, but Link is already doing that, are idiots who don't understand the execution and speed beats first to market all day, every day in the world of startups. They need to read some Peter Thiel and look closely at what Binance is doing. Agree?
So, I mean, I don't know. We don't necessarily have to comment on Link on this, but I did a tweet today. I wonder if this came from that. So, one of my big gripes in the space is I hate that, like, people always place this premium on novelty. So, like, if you're like, hey, I'm going to be a decentralized Oracle, they're like, hey, but this person's already doing that. Or if you're like, I'm going to be a prediction market, they're like, well, Augur and Gnosis do that. And, I think especially as the space matures, there's enough of a reason that you should now be able to say, like, I know they're doing that. Like, their token distribution sucks and their team isn't getting it done, so we're just going to beat them. Like, that should be a valid reason to do it. You don't necessarily need to have better tech or anything like that. You can just say, like, hey, it's open source. I'm forking their protocol because they aren't getting it done. And I bet as we see, some of these things start to get some product market fit, you're going to see actual business people come in and replace all of those researchers who, you know, they left because they made their ICO money, and now they're just sitting on a protocol that nothing's getting done. So yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of these just basically forked and turned into real businesses here soon.
Skipping a couple repeats. Tellor doesn't show up on Uniswap when you search TRB, only when you search for the contract address. Can this be fixed? Yeah, I've already submitted all the information to you.
That's on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I followed the process weeks and weeks ago. So reach out to them. Can you tell us about the BiDAO partnership?
Yeah,
Sure.
So we're working with BiDAO. They're a very early stage project, and we're helping them kind of design and use Tellor as an oracle.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I think they're still a ways away from kind of actually utilizing Tellor, but we're working with them to design it, and we're going to make it pretty. So
yeah, we're excited. We like the guys. Does Tellor have any revenue at this time, or is it too early in the growth cycle? Yeah, our dev share is, you could even think of it as
that's the team revenue, but yeah, I mean, there's not really anything as like revenue as a whole.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Could the Tellor team appear on one of MakerDAO's community calls? They frequently have other projects on as guests.
We can ask them. I mean, we listen to them a lot. So.
Is Nick a huge Star Wars fan?
Big Star Wars fan.
He is. He's got tattoos. That's how you know you're committed. Hey, are you going to artificially increase the number of tokens? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't. Yeah. What do you guys think of Set Protocol and DeFi Zap?
Set Protocol. We used to be really close with those guys. With Felix, and we were working on, back whenever we were Daxia, we were in a lot of calls with Set Protocol. So, and I've since sort of fallen out, but they're a really cool project. There's some great guys over there, and DeFi Zap also really cool. So yeah.
I haven't used them, but and that's it. The other one's the ETH Denver questions. So
yeah,
good questions, guys.
So thanks for everyone joining. I don't think we actually, if anybody has anything else, let us know. That should be about it. When Guitar from Spuddy. Yeah, you have to stop by the office to hear us play guitar. So, but thanks everyone. Hopefully we answered all of your questions, and great job. The community's growing. The community is moving forward, and more people hear about us every single day. So it's going great. Thanks, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace.